Well, here we are in the fishing room. You know, lobsters and the state of Maine, they're synonymous. Maine is known for its lobster harvest. Every year we get wonderful, wonderful lobsters. Well, you know, years ago there were a lot of fish in the bay out here. They'd go down and they'd fish for halibut and hake and cod, cusk, all kinds of market fish. But they fished them all out. They fished them out until now. There's no predators on the lobster industry. The fish used to eat the lobster larvae. Now there are no longer any fish there, so the lobsters are ubiquitous. They are everywhere. They're crawling around the seafloor out there, just waiting to be caught. Years ago, the traps, the wooden trap the lobster fishermen used to build in the wintertime when they couldn't go fishing. Nowadays they use the wire trap, which is the newest kind of trap. Of course, the principle is the same. The lobsters go in through a hoop, they come to the bait bag here, they feed at the bait bag in what they call the kitchen. This area of the trap is the kitchen. After they're through feeding, they crawl through, hopefully, into what they call the parlor, back in the back of the trap, and hopefully they get caught there. Very interesting thing happened about 4 years ago. They put a camera in the trap. A little video camera, and they found out things about lobsters they never knew before. These lobsters are not as dumb as you think. These traps are about 5% effective. 95% of the lobsters go in, feed at the bait bag, turn around and come right back out again. Sometimes they go all the way back into the parlor back here and they turn around and they come crawling right out again. It is amazing. They never knew that until they put that camera in there and they realized their traps are very ineffective. But the wonderful part about the fact that these ineffective traps is that they're all state regulated now. They have to have a certain size hoop, they have to have certain opening here for the smaller lobsters to escape, opening in the back for the crabs to escape. And these traps, you can't change them, so you can't make a better mousetrap. It's probably the very best ecological move that the state could make. The best thing we could do to keep the lobster harvest healthy is to have a lousy trap. Over here we have the story of the old Adventure, my old schooner Adventure, wonderful Gloucester fishing schooner. This is in the 1940s. These pictures depict the method of fishing and the style of fishing back in those days. Men fished from little dories like this, 2 men to a dory. They would go from the mothership out through the fog or through the gales or whatever back in those days and fish for tons and tons and tons of fish and set the records that the old Adventure did set. You get to go to the addendum to know more about this story in depth. Jeff Thomas had the Adventure built in 1926 and he died on deck in 1934 back there with the old vessel all iced up out in the Grand Banks, just as cold in the dead of winter as it could be, and they barely escaped with their lives. In 1977 we did the movie Captain's Courageous on the old Adventure. Captain's Courageous, Rudyard Kipling's incredible novel about the We're Here, the vessel We're Here that went to the Grand Banks and they picked up a boy off of a steamer. And it's a wonderful story. You probably have read it. Maybe you've seen the earlier edition of Captain's Courageous that was done in 1937 with Spencer Tracy. Well, we did it. Our captain was Carl Malden. Carl Malden and all of the actors, Ricardo Montalban, and all these fellas came from Hollywood. They dressed the vessel up like an old fish boat, and we took them to sea so that they could make this movie. Well, we had to be offshore because we didn't want to have any land around. They're supposed to be on the Grand Banks fishing. We get out there, we're cavorting around in a wonderful sea, great sailing day. The old vessel's having a good time, glad time, jumping up and down in the sea out there, and everybody was so seasick. Poor old Carl Malden, his red nose was green, actually. Well, let's head out onto the next room, which is our shipwreck room.